What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to week 2, or the third episode of the Sit Down Sports Edition with my man Andrew. Where we're going to go over week 2, everything that happened. We're going to run through some superlatives, and then one thing we were talking about over the weekend that we're going to do this week is we're going to talk about who we think is going to win and who we think are going to lose for week 3.
Some quick predictions.
Just some quick ones. We're just going to give it a win or a loss. We're not going to go into why or anything like that, but just so everybody knows, this is not a Leonard Fournette jersey. Don't get it twisted, all right? This is Ward Dunn from way back in the day. See, I don't think I'm jumping on that bandwagon on the smack.
And this is my daily reminder that the Broncos were at one point the best team in the league. That's not happening this year.
1 point.
They're at 1 point.
Man, oh man.
And I mean, hey, let's make that our starting point. Broncos took a loss to the Steelers 26-21. It was a competitive game throughout, surprisingly so. Broncos lost Drew Lock in the first quarter. Jeff Driscoll came in, did okay. I mean, did better than anyone would think a guy named Jeff Driscoll would do.
Right.
Defense held strong. 26 points is not bad when your offense is on the field. Not that much.
Yeah.
What did you think when you were watching the snippets that we saw of that game?
You want to know what? I think the thing for me was, again, injuries. I think week 2 was, for me, my biggest takeaway for all of week 2 was just injuries.
Yeah.
Jerry Jeudy got blasted.
Yep.
Is he in concussion protocol?
I think he might be. He should be good to go week 3, but he missed most.
Drew Lock, AC joint sprain, throwing out shoulder. That's not good.
For the year.
Courtland Sutton out for the year. That's not good.
Nope.
And it's not your fault, but it's just such a Broncos way for the season to go. It's just like, all right, we think we got a quarterback, and everything, and then in 1 week, in one game, everything just kind of goes down the drain. So that was, honestly, there wasn't really anything that really stuck out to me too much. I was actually impressed with your offense being able to function the way it did, all in all.
Putting up 21 points against a Steelers defense that people tout is probably the best in the league. With a backup quarterback and your starting wide receiver out and an offensive line that's bad as it is, and one of your running backs that are part of your duo out for the game, turf toe, Philip Lindsay. I'm actually kind of impressed with how close it was. Steelers are not a team to mess with this year.
Nope.
As they've shown in 2 weeks.
Sure.
So, I mean, good on the Steelers. They took advantage of, a rough situation for the other team. I mean, that's what you got to do.
That's what you have to do. Capitalize on our weakness, and that was exactly what they did. Yeah.
So Broncos are 0-2 now. Steelers 2-0.
Steelers 2-0.
I skipped the Thursday night game. My bad. Browns-Bengals. That was a very surprising game from Baker Mayfield.
Bit of a shootout there.
Baker Mayfield dropped some dimes. If he could play like that every week, that would be what people expected from the Browns.
Right.
35-30 is a game that you expect against, maybe not 30, but that amount of points is what you expect from an offense with that much firepower.
Right.
Joe Burrow had a great game. He's the first rookie in NFL history with 60-plus passing attempts and 0 picks.
That's ridiculous.
So it's good.
60-plus.
That's not to say he didn't make mistakes throughout the game.
Sure.
There were a few things that were a little questionable, obviously. Like thinking he could do too much. Saw him trying to spin out of a tackle once, and he just got annihilated by somebody.
Absolutely classic. And that defense, that Browns defense, they have some good people on paper over there. So that defense isn't necessarily just a walk in the park either.
No, putting 30 points up against that defense.
Yeah, I didn't even realize he had 60-plus passes. Holy jeez. That's a lot. That's something like Brady or Manning or Breeze would do.
Right.
That's crazy.
So he kept him in the game the best he could, but that defense couldn't. The Bengals defense is rough.
Yeah.
So they couldn't hold the Browns defense very very well. Baker had a great game.
Yes, he did.
A lot of deep passes. Very nice. Little Russell Wilson-esque with those deep passes. Nice touch.
In the bucket.
Yeah, for sure. So that puts the Browns at 1-1 and the Bengals at 0-2.
Not surprised by either of those. I'll say this, my 2 biggest things for the future: can Joe Burrow sustain?
Yep.
Because I like the way he's been playing so far, even though the record doesn't show it.
Right.
That dude has been playing his ass off.
I was gonna say you don't get those fun victories even if you lose as a football team in the NFL, but 0-2. For the Bengals, expected, but it's a good 0-2.
And it was they were close.
That's weird to say. Like, both games are really close against good teams. We'll talk about the Chargers later. A good 0-2.
Right. very close competitive 0-2
Yes.
as well. It's not like they ever got blown out of the building either.
One score
And
each game.
What I'm curious to see, my other point was, let's see what Baker Mayfield does. Because again, I'm not necessarily impressed because, like you had said, that Bengals defense is a shell. So, they couldn't stop a Brees. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see.
Baker needs to show consistency.
He has to, especially with this year. I would say, his butt's on the line this year, so he's really got to do something for it. He's going to be in trouble. So.
The next game was a nail biter. Very good game. Very enjoyable to watch. Titans Jaguars 33-30. Titans won with a last-second field goal. That was surprisingly a very fun game to watch.
Hey, once again, shout out to my man Mike. Shout out to Mike, your older brother. He's telling me to put some respect on Minshew's name. I think he's forcing my hand on this one because he
2 weeks he did a great job.
What did he have? Five touchdown passes?
I think it might have been 3 or 4.
3 or 4, but either way, he played his butt off.
He did.
In that one pass on the right sideline, he dropped that thing in the bucket. With the I think it was a strong safety closing in too over the top. That was an absolute dime.
Yep.
And I'll say this too, Tennessee Titans, as we predicted, if you're able to slow down Derrick Henry, you got a shot.
Yep.
You got a shot, and obviously I think he just ticked over 100 yards running the ball, but I mean, granted, he had a ton of carries, and I'm not sold on Tannehill as a quarterback.
Yeah.
I'm just not sold on him, you know?
For sure. Depending on how you feel about the Jaguars, the Titans could look one of two ways. The Titans could look like a 2-0 team who barely beat two teams that are really struggling right now. Jaguars aren't struggling, but they're a struggling roster. Like, their roster is nothing to get excited about. The Broncos, obviously struggling. So the Titans, they're 2-0, but look who they beat and how close it was.
Exactly.
Is that sustainable? We'll talk about it. But yeah, 33-30. I mean, they put up a lot more points than I thought they would. Tannehill did have a game. But again, consistency. Can he do that big game in, game out? Can he carry his team to those high-scoring victories? He did against the Jaguars.
Barely.
And the Jaguars' defense is probably worse than the Bengals' defense.
And like you had said there, it's a 2-0 record against two teams that weren't very impressive. Nor were the scores or the victories very impressive either. So we'll see. When they play the good teams, we'll see what they do.
For sure. Exactly. That puts the Titans, like I said, 2-0. Jaguars 1-1.
Right.
Next game you got. This one was close for a bit. Got pulled away pretty handily. Bucks 31, Panthers 17. That puts the Bucks at 1-1 and the Panthers at 0-2.
Surprised the Panthers didn't do as I thought they were going to make it a little bit closer, and they did.
They did for a little bit.
They were keeping it close.
Very, very slight amount of time it was close.
But it never really felt like the Panthers were threatening at all. It never really felt like the Buccaneers were in danger that whole game. It felt, even though the score might have been close for a little while, that first quarter going into the second quarter, it never really felt like the Buccaneers had any real pressure or had any real threat. Christian McCaffrey, high ankle sprain, so that hurt, of course.
He's going to be out for a few weeks.
On a scoring play, which is like insult to injury.
Literally.
Tom Brady, better game.
Sure.
Still was not really that impressed though.
No.
Still was not that impressed. He's got to stop throwing interceptions. Got to stop. That's 2 games, 3 interceptions. One was a pick 6. That's not good.
Yeah, and I think one thing that goes along with that is the Bucks. You can tell. Anytime they pass to, I still don't even know his name.
Number 17, Watson. Watson. His last name is Watson.
To me, it means you're trying to do too much. You're trying to throw the defense off in such a way where you're doing things that people look at and you're like, why? You got Mike Evans, you got Chris Godwin, you have Rob Gronkowski, you have O.J. Howard, you have Cameron Brate.
Scotty Miller.
That's 6 players, and you're throwing to your 7th guy.
Yeah.
I'm confused as to why. We've seen through these few weeks, and that's probably why the Titans are doing as well as they are, because they're a simple offense.
Right.
Run the ball. When running the ball's not working, you throw some quick passes, let Tannehill take over a little bit.
Get some people out of the box.
Right. And then you run the ball some more. Teams that keep it simple on offense are the ones who are succeeding. The Bucks are not doing that.
Nope.
They're trying to be fancy, and they're trying to do a lot, and it's showing that the offense isn't moving well. I mean, granted, they got 31 points, but like, the way it didn't look pretty. If you watch the game, you're like, what is happening here?
Right.
There's something not clicking. The cogs are not fitting in the right spots. And I think that's something they're going to need to keep working through.
I like one thing I did like though is they started to establish a bit of pass game with LaShawn McCoy coming out of the backfield.
Yes.
I like that a lot, and
Brady hit him on a dime in the end zone. He dropped it.
That did not like that.
That was a good play though.
And I also like the fact that they're really starting to establish that run game, and they're really starting to show teams that that's going to be a threat. Leonard Fournette went off. He went off.
Absolutely.
He snapped. So there was I like the fact that they were really starting to establish that run game. I think that's going to really save them later on down the line when they go up against good teams that have a good secondary.
For sure.
It doesn't, when you have three bell cows like that, LaShawn McCoy, Rojo, and then you have Leonard Fournette, that's a really formidable run game. So if you get that established early, you have to respect that. So then that's going to make it easy for Brady to just throw those balls in the pockets that he needs to. So
that's going to be a team that when they can learn to run the ball to pass the ball, that's when it'll work.
Instead of using the run game to save them when the pass isn't working. Exactly.
So again, that puts the Bucs at 1-1, Panthers 0-2. Unexpected, kind of. I mean, and not expected, but like as we see some of these teams moving along, like the Panthers versus the Raiders week 1. Raiders had a game last night. Kind of starting to make sense why they lost to the Raiders. I mean, they lost to the Bucs. I wasn't expecting them to beat the Bucs anyway.
I didn't either. But I thought they were going to give more of an effort than they did. It seemed like they really kind of got the life taken out of them.
And again, injuries come into play.
Sure.
Anytime you lose your best player, it takes the life out of you a little bit.
No doubt.
Let's jump to Rams and Eagles. Rams surprising 2-0, and the Eagles a surprising 0-2.
Love
Rams
it.
won 37-19.
Let's go Eagles. Go 0-16, baby.
I don't know about that, but the Eagles are surprisingly stagnant on offense.
Carson Wentz is bad. I saw a stat today. He has the most amount of off-target passes in the league so far. He's 20. And his company is... Oh, man, I can't think of the other person. The other one was Dwayne Haskins.
Okay.
So, if you're getting paired with Dwayne Haskins...
And you just lost to Dwayne Haskins last week.
Right, and you just lost to him last week. So, Carson Wentz, you're supposed to be a franchise quarterback. You're supposed to be a guy that's supposed to carry your team to victory.
An MVP caliber quarterback, which he has
just been. 2 years, 3 years prior, he was in the MVP. He would have won it if he hadn't got hurt.
Right.
Thank you, Tom Brady. But, honestly, I could say I'm a bit surprised with how bad that offense is.
Yeah. I'm
happy they're that bad. I don't know why. I just hate them. I hate the Eagles, but
there's a lot of Super Bowl history with the Patriots.
Yeah, that's true. But I was surprised with how poor Carson Wentz has been playing, and I was actually impressed by Jared Goff in that game, actually.
Yeah, for sure.
And I was impressed by that Rams defense. They were flying around. They were not making it easy on him at all.
When I was watching Jared Goff hit some passes, it reminded me a lot of early career Matt Ryan. Really just able to poise in the pocket and sling the ball around the field to his star wide
step
receivers.
into the throws too. He has a terrible habit of throwing off his back foot. Anytime there's any pressure, he was stepping into the pocket, moving forward, and then really stepping into those throws. I think that really helped him.
And I think you see tale of two quarterbacks. You got Carson Wentz, but then again you have that old line is not very good. It's unfortunate we didn't see it on Sunday Night Football because I think if we were to watch that game more. We usually watch our games on NFL Red Zone, so we don't get to see every play of every game, but we get to see the big ones. But those little plays where someone like Aaron Donald will just annihilate an O-line like the Eagles, and we saw those little plays on Sunday Night Football where Aaron Donald was just making people look stupid, and I cannot imagine that he did not do the same thing to that Eagles offensive line, which is not very good, which is also not helping Carson Wentz keep his poise in the pocket.
You're right.
The Eagles running game needs to be better. Miles Sanders is back this week, obviously showed some rust. Did okay, but not the best.
Howard didn't do anything to impress me either.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that Eagles offense needs to be better than 19 points. They need to be better than 17 points against the Washington football team. So Rams put up 37, which is big. Wasn't expecting that.
And then another thing too with the Eagles, it seemed like with them too, they really got their will. It seemed they got their will taken from them. And the Rams are not a physically imposing team per se, outside of like an Aaron Donald.
Sure.
That the Rams are not a team that are going to pound you into submission per se with their run game or anything like that. They're going to put up a lot of points, but they're not going to dominate you, take your will from you. And it just seemed like the Eagles really kind of rolled over and died there, which makes me nervous for them because that's not good.
No,
that's not good.
Yeah, absolutely. This game was hysterical. 49ers Jets. 49ers smoked the Jets. 31-13. That puts the Niners at 1-1, the Jets at 0-2. The Niners lost their starting running back, their starting quarterback, their starting center, their backup center, their star defensive player, their second star defensive player. They went into the game without their starting wide receiver. And absolutely annihilated the Jets. The Jets never had a chance.
Not one time.
Never had a chance.
Which is...
How do you even explain it?
You don't. Congratulations on Lane Trevor Lawrence, because that is over for me, honestly. Congratulations, because it's... Yeah, that with a team that's that injury riddled right now, for them to still hang that on them like that...
31 points.
What are we doing?
They only gave up 13. In the NFL, that's embarrassing.
What are we doing out here?
Yeah.
My goodness. And again, Sam Darnold, not impressed. Not impressed.
The only team to score less points than the New York Jets were, which is also terrible, we'll talk about this, the Minnesota Vikings, who scored 11. And another team who scored 13 points was the New York Giants. The Jets are a disaster.
Yeah, they are not good.
I don't want to take away from the 49ers because they obviously have some depth on their roster to be able to still come out and show out. Great coaching, obviously, keeping your guys in the game and win a game like that. But what?
Yeah.
31-13.
31-13.
Just imagine a preseason game, and you keep your starters in the whole game. And the 49ers take out their starters, which is basically what happened after the first quarter, and you still get smoked. I'm done with the Jets.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. And T's and P's to one of the Bosa brothers. That was sad to see. Sure. That stinks.
Nick Bosa got torn ACL. That's not good.
Yeah, done for the season. That hurts.
Jimmy Garoppolo looks like he's going to be out at least 2 weeks.
I've seen 2 to 4 high ankle sprain as well. Yeah.
Solomon Thomas looks like he's out for the year as well.
Mostard, is that how you say his name?
Mostert. I don't know if he's out for the year, but he's out for a bit.
Yeah, I think they might have just thrown him on IR.
Yeah, IR this year is only 3 weeks.
3 weeks, yep.
So, I hope the 49ers come back strong. I don't know. You're not going to verse many teams like the Jets, so...
No, you can't sustain... I don't think you can sustain with that many injuries.
Yeah.
Because the Jets are so damn bad.
Absolutely.
They're so terrible.
Yeah, and even when they were at full strength, they lost to the Cardinals, who's a division rival, and the Cardinals are not even the best team in that division.
No.
So...
Not even close.
The 49ers are going to struggle a bit.
Yep.
Next game we're going to talk about is... arguably division favorite against arguably the third worst team in that division. You got the Bills, Dolphins. Bills 2-0, Dolphins 0-2. Bills have been winning, but it hasn't been exactly pretty on offense.
No.
Not very impressive. Josh Allen did have a day. 417 touchdowns. 417 yards, 4 touchdowns. First Bills quarterback to do that in franchise history. But again, it's one of those teams where you watch play, and the things that they do where, my brother sent me a meme today where Josh Allen is the reason that Madden has quarterbacks fumble every time they get hit. And it's not because Josh Allen's bad at carrying the ball, he's just careless. He's trying to do too much, trying to do too much crazy stuff.
Yep.
And you see a lot of these young quarterbacks do that. Daniel Jones, Joe Burrow, even Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, they all do it. It's something about that era where they think they're superheroes, and then when they get on the field, they get made to look silly.
And that's why you get injured. You know, if you look at the really good quarterbacks, why do they sustain so long? Because they get down. They
Even
don't
Cam Newton's been
take
getting down.
unnecessary hits.
Yep.
Russell Wilson, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Cam Newton's even doing it now.
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers. They don't take hits they don't need to for 1 or 2 yards. 1 or 2 yards is not worth your season.
Yep.
Get on the ground.
Yep.
Just get down.
Yeah.
And then my big takeaway for the Bills was actually Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
8 receptions, 153 yards with a receiving touchdown.
That man won me 2 fantasy football games this week.
I'll tell you what, Stephon Diggs is going to make Josh Allen look really good this year.
And he has been.
He has been, and he's going to continue to do so. And one thing on Josh Allen, like you had said, the reason why Josh Allen had 147 passer rating is because of Stephon Diggs. Single-handedly, Stephon Diggs that is the guy. Every first read on every route is Stephon Diggs.
If you, at the end of week 2, if you were a stat watcher, strictly a stat watcher, you didn't watch football games, you would probably be thinking Josh Allen's an MVP candidate.
Yeah.
Because he's putting up numbers.
He is.
But, again, is it sustainable the way he's doing it?
Mm-hmm.
Not sure. We'll see. He's versed 2 bad teams.
Yep.
And won both games. First one was a little handedly. Second one was way too close.
And then Dolphins being the Dolphins. This is funny because Fitzmagic is proving our theory about how he plays better from behind the whole game, and he actually had a decent day. Didn't have many turnovers. I think he had 1 interception.
Yeah.
1 interception. He dropped a couple balls in the bucket there. Had a couple of touchdowns throwing.
Sure.
You know, and it's But one thing, my biggest takeaway with the Dolphins, I thought they were going to be better.
Yeah, a little bit.
They were going to be better.
Not
really good, but I thought
Sure.
they were going to perform a little bit better. Like they're kind of sorry.
And I think the whole part of it is the Patriots are better than I thought they would be. I think they're better than most people thought they would be.
Mm-hmm.
They beat the Dolphins week 1. And then they versed arguably the division favorite in the Bills this week and lost close game. Kind of similar to the Bengals in my eyes, a good 0-2. I don't know if that's the right word to use, but like they're losing against teams that are good. Obviously, the Dolphins are not a playoff team, but once they verse, so this Thursday they verse the Jacksonville Jaguars.
That's gonna be a fun game, actually.
If the Dolphins can show that they can beat a team like that, whose offense is really hot, even though they're 1-1, they're really hot. If they can beat a team like that, then I think you can start putting the Dolphins
in a different category. Right.
If they lose to the Jags, we kind of are who we thought they were.
I will say this too about the Bills, about the Dolphins, I should say. That score is deceiving because they had a lot of scores in garbage time trying to come back when it really didn't matter.
Sure.
So you could probably take 11 or 12 points off their score there. So what was the score of that game? 31-28.
Yeah.
So you take 13, 14 points off the board.
Conservative defense towards the end.
They're just not giving up anything big. So
For sure.
it really wasn't as close as it sounded.
I still think we see 2-0 week 4.
I predicted 5, so we're pretty much there together.
I think that's what you're going to see. Vikings are surprisingly bad this year.
Yeah.
Vikings Colts. Colts beat them 28-11. I was surprised by this game. I thought the Vikings would bounce back and have a day. Did not against the Colts at all. They had the opposite of a day. Kirk Cousins threw 3 picks.
It's not Kirk right now. It's Kirk Cousins. Because he's playing like an average Joe right now.
It's bad.
Kirk is the one who dices people up. Kurt is the one who's just a grocery store employee.
For those who can't hear it, he's saying Kirk would be the good quarterback.
Kurt.
He's saying Kurt with a T is your average Joe.
That's the grocery store quarterback right there. Yeah, it's
bad.
Vikings offense is just really just not efficient.
They're feeling the loss of Stephon Diggs heavy.
They're not using Dalvin Cook how they should.
Nope.
They're not getting the ball into Thielen's hands.
Nope.
Actually, let me rephrase that. They're trying to get him the ball too much. Because teams know, okay, he's the one. He's not used to being the one.
When you had Diggs on that team, it was very much like you had to split your corners.
Yes.
It was like I was watching the Cardinals play the other day, and I was like, you look at your corners and say, okay, you want to cover Larry Fitz, you want to cover DeAndre Hopkins.
Huh?
And they're like, well, what kind of options is that?
Both
It was the same thing last year with the Vikings. You had Stephon Diggs or Adam Thielen. You want to cover. But now it's just, all right, best guy, cover Adam Thielen, go.
Just put one over the top so they don't get anything big and just make it hard for him.
Exactly.
And I think the thing with Kirk Cousins is that I think last year he got spoiled because the windows were bigger for him, so he didn't have to be as precise. This year, the windows are a lot smaller for him to try to get it in there, so he's having a little bit of trouble with his accuracy with something I've seen. So, but Colts, didn't really impress me that much either. Phillip Rivers looks terrible.
I don't know.
Phillip Rivers looks terrible. It looks like he's throwing a medicine ball.
He looks like he's struggling a little bit.
He's
always had a weird throwing motion, but especially
it's not good. If I were the Colts, I would be nervous about quarterback play.
Running game helped them a lot.
Big time.
Their rookie running back got 100 plus yards. It's the first time that they've had a rookie running back do that since 2012.
Side note, this is kind of going back a little bit. Did you know Ryan Tannehill had a freaking day?
I said it. He had a day.
18 completions, 239 yards, 4 passing touchdowns, and a 145.7 passer rating.
He had a day.
What in the world? Not bad, Ryan Tannehill.
They were able to. If we're going back a little bit, they were able to pass the ball pretty well. Jags stuffed Derrick Henry pretty well too. But again, like I said, run the ball first, set up the pass, and that's what the Titans are doing well. And that's probably why their games are a lot closer.
Yeah, I did not know that. That was okay. I take that back.
But yeah, that puts the Colts back to the Colts. Colts 1-1.
Yep.
Vikings a very bad 0-2.
Oh, side note, we might be seeing somebody that I've been working on. I can't say anything about it yet. On the television screen.
Yes, tell me about
in a Vikings uniform in the next couple of weeks.
Sounds like they could use them.
Just gonna put that out there. I can't say anything detailed wise or anything like that, but
got the inside scoop.
So
can't break no HIPAA laws though.
I'll tell you what, definitely, and for his own privacy too.
Yeah,
I don't want to do that to him, but hey, if that is true, I'm gonna be freaking out. Like, that's a crazy experience. But
that would be really cool.
Yeah, that's insane.
Hopefully, it can help the Vikings get better than 0-2 because they need it.
Injuries too. Barr got hurt.
Yeah, that's bad.
Their backup
second-best player of the defense.
And their backup linebacker got hurt as well. Yep.
Gotta make sure you have depth in this league this year.
Especially a linebacker.
Arguably the best team in the league this year, if you're discounting last year. Packers are 2-0. Another 40-burger. 42 points against the Lions. Lions put up 21.
Hanging it on,
just
man.
Could not keep up.
Hanging it on.
Stafford did throw a pick 6. That was ugly.
That was not good. And at that point, the game was already over. But that just really showed you it was done. Yeah. There was no chance there. It was over.
Aaron Rodgers. I think he's a front runner for MVP this year, as of right now. 2 weeks in. Him, Russ, and Josh Allen probably. I see you got something pulled up.
Oh, I do.
He had a friggin' day.
What's his first name?
Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones. 168 on the ground.
Yep.
68 receiving.
It's over 200 yards.
3 total touchdowns.
Monster.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Feast.
Feast. Yeah, he had a day. And that helped a lot.
They're going to need that too, especially
for sure.
Devontae Adams' hamstring now. That's not good.
Correct.
That's not
good. This game helps set up the Packers for more wins down the road because week 1 was the Aaron Rodgers show.
Week
great.
2,
he still had a great day.
Aaron Jones
week
show.
2 was the Aaron Jones show.
Yep.
You have a dynamic offense that can pass and run at will.
And a running back that can catch out the backfield.
Correct.
So he almost had 100-piece catching.
Yep.
That's scary.
So the Packers are a very good offense. They're going to put up. They're looking like they're going to put up 30 points a game on you, regardless of who you are. And the team's going to watch out because how do you game plan for that? How do you game plan for Aaron Rodgers as well as Aaron Jones? If they didn't have Aaron Jones, it's like, all right, well then let's just get our pass defense tight, stop them anytime they try to run, sit down, little boy. But now they got Aaron Jones, who's putting up 200 yards rushing and receiving combined with 3 touchdowns. He's got a nose for the end zone. He had it last year. He's got it this year too.
Yep.
Packers are scary.
Watch out. And they're going to need Devontae Adams because he's a big part. And the thing that makes me scared is he's had hamstring issues in the past. Sure. He's been in trouble in the past, so he needs to be healthy.
And I think the way they're playing right now, they got to be conservative with him. They got to let him hang out. They got to let him sit. Get a pitch count on him. Get him. You run this many routes a game, and you sit, relax, take care of that hamstring.
I would like that.
We need you for later down the road when the going gets tough and teams who are good start getting better. Because you're already a good team that's good. take what you can, put your best receiver on a pitch count who's got a hamstring issue, and go from there.
Love it. I think that's a great idea. They should do that.
Packers 2-0, Lions 0-2. Lions probably, I was expecting them to do a little better this year, but
yeah,
they lost to the Bears in a tight one week 1, and
they lost. They were
that.
supposed to lose this one.
Yeah.
They were supposed to lose that one.
It is. I would be frustrated as a Lions fan not to see 1-1. DeAndre Swift had a game in his hand and dropped it. So instead of 1-1, it's 0-2.
Yeah, that's tough.
This was a friggin' doozy. Cowboys Falcons. Cowboys won 40-39. Let's do a little improv here. You are Dan Quinn. Explain yourself. How do you explain how? I would just say fire me, please, because the way that special teams played was atrocious.
Yeah, it's not good. I think they forgot the fact that the receiving side of the football can touch the ball at any given point. Why did you?
The kicking side.
No, the receiving side, the side like the Falcons, they could have touched the ball at 1 yard.
Oh yes.
Why did they wait till it crossed the 10-yard mark to then try to get on the ball?
Bad coaching.
Here's what I was thinking. I kept watching and I kept looking. The way the Falcons were acting, it was acting as if their special teams coordinator said, he's gonna kick it this way, because keep in mind, they called a timeout. They had said it, called a timeout, and they came back out and did the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like he said, don't touch the ball, it's not gonna go 10 yards. Just back up.
So Dan Quinn, you're saying fire the special teams coach.
Listen, somebody needs to be walking around with their butthole puckered up. Because let's just call a spade here. Come on.
Yeah,
that can't happen, man.
The only thing I was thinking was the way the ball was spinning. Maybe they were afraid that they were going to try and touch it, and then I believe it's a new rule this year. You can place the ball directly on the ground.
Gotcha. Did I know that?
Dan Quinn's on the hot seat right now. That team should not be 0-2.
Nope.
That's a good roster.
That offense is
That's
so
a good
good.
offense. They have a problem. I'm not sure what it is, and that's when you have a team that has a problem and you don't know what it is. You gotta look to the head coach, because you got a serious issue if your team is this good on offense and is losing in the fashion that they did.
Right.
But let's give the Cowboys credit. They stepped up.
Prescott had a day. He went 34 completions, 450 passing yards, 4 total touchdowns, 3 of them on the ground. He's the first quarterback in the history of the NFL to have 450 passing yards and 3 rushing touchdowns. That's crazy.
If he can have games like that consistently, I mean, granted, having games like that consistently is very difficult. Putting up 40 points is difficult.
Mm-hmm.
This is the National Football League. It's not college.
And go ahead. I'm going to add something after you go.
If he can pull out these types of wins, which he has been able to do in the past, but we haven't seen it recently. He had a really hard time against the Rams last week.
Yeah.
And with a little bit of luck, they were able to pull it out. Dak can be a very, very, very good quarterback. He just needs to keep showing it.
Yep, and I think those numbers are impressive, very much so, but they're deceiving in the sense of the Falcons completely took their foot off the gas, per usual. That's a trend with them. They were up 15 going into the 4th.
Look at the Super Bowl.
They took their
Super
foot
Bowl
completely
48.
off the gas, and Dak Prescott started to eat. He started a lot. I would honestly say you could probably take 150 of those passing yards off the total count, because he got them in what we would call garbage time, when they have their nothing big, and just giving stuff away.
The Falcons tend to extend garbage time so long
For a whole quarter?
that it goes from garbage time to a comeback.
Yeah.
Because it looks like they're playing so conservative. They got their guys back. They're not trying to do anything. They don't want to make mistakes.
And even
they're scared.
the offense plays scared too.
They run the ball too much. They get those short, dinky passes. You got guys like Calvin Ridley and Julio Jones. Stretch the field. Keep trying to put up points.
Do what got you those 39 points to begin with.
Absolutely.
Keep your foot on the gas. That game, holy smokes.
The Falcons are a stupid 0-2.
Yeah.
And the Cowboys
are a lucky
1-1.
Lucky.
They better send Dan Quinn some flowers. And here we go. We got I think, two dumpster fires, but one of them is 2-0, the other one's 0-2. You got the Bears and the Giants. I don't know how the Bears are 2-0, and I know exactly how the Giants are 0-2. They should. If I could watch games and say, yeah, this is probably what you deserve, I would put both of them 0-2 because they're not good football teams. The score is 17-13.
Trubisky played better.
Sure.
He played better. I mean, granted, his playing better is not asking too much.
Sure.
It's more so just not making bonehead mistakes and just put the ball in people's
wide open receivers.
Right, and put the ball in receivers' hands so they can actually do something.
Right.
And then for the Giants, Saquon Barkley is that entire team. For him to go down that early with the ACL, he's out for the whole season. Kiss that goodbye. They're in the sweepstakes for Trevor Lawrence as well.
I mean, I'd be surprised if they took him because of Daniel Jones. But
hey,
in terms of being first overall pick, losing Saquon.
How could you not? If you had the first overall pick, how do you not take
because
him?
now, like we talked about,
Because you look at the Cardinals, Josh Rosen, then they
Sure.
go get Kyler Murray.
Sure, and that turned out well.
People ask questions, and you look at it now, and you might be on something there.
That's fair. But yeah, you look at this team. Offensive line is abysmal.
Both those teams are just bad all around.
Quarterback play is not intimidating at all.
Where's Khalil Mack been? He's playing, but I'm just saying he has no presence at all.
Yeah, I mean,
I haven't heard his name said one time this whole season.
I can't say. I don't know exactly what the stats are, but both I want to say it was a defensive game, but it was a bad offensive game.
Yeah,
really.
It's what we call a snooze fest.
Yeah, and that's probably why we didn't see it on Red Zone very much. Because no one really did anything. And I don't really know what to say about it. The only stat I got is Bears 2-0, first time since 1993.
Not bad.
Fun.
Hey, take it where you can get it.
But
take it where you can get it.
They had the Lions and then they had the Giants, and
yeah, nothing really to hang your hat on.
Those are two teams who are 0-2. You are 2-0 because of it. If you played teams that were half as good as them,
you're probably 0-2.
You're probably 0-2 as well. Not to hate on the Bears. If the Bears make the playoffs, please cap this and put clown makeup on my face or something. Because, like, that is.
I'll have to learn how to do that.
Here, do it.
Yeah.
All right. So you got your next game. Cardinals, a good 2-0. The football team is surprising 1-1. I'm surprised they actually won a game. They put up a fight as well as they could, but the Cardinals got away pretty early.
Keep it short and sweet. Dwayne Haskins came back down to earth.
Yep.
He played like he was supposed to. Washington defense did the best they could.
Yep.
I think they had a freakish game last week, but I think what you saw this past week is more of what you'll see from them every time.
Sure. Because, the Cardinals are a contender.
Right, and then the Cardinals, Hopkins, feasted again.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray had 2 rushing touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
That dude 8. And then Larry Fitzgerald, if you're ever in a tight spot, just look for him. He's always open.
Kyler Murray had 3 rushing touchdowns.
3?
Oh, through the first 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. This says 158 rushing yards and 3 rushing touchdowns through the first 2 weeks.
Actually, I have the stats here.
Oh, go ahead.
286 passing yards, 67 rushing yards, 3 total touchdowns, 2 on the ground, 1 in the air.
You got to watch out for
That's a hell of a game.
Kyler is... He's looking like he's having that sophomore year that
you had talked about.
The sophomore year, absolutely. It's been a theme the past 2 years where you got Mahomes had his sophomore year MVP, Lamar Jackson had his sophomore year MVP, and I mentioned this year, look out for a sophomore. I said either Drew Lock or Kyler Murray. Drew Lock's season looks like it's going to be cut in half.
Yeah, Kyler Murray.
And Kyler Murray is looking like that guy.
He's eating right now.
He is eating right now, and if he can keep that team rolling, and he can keep those stats up, and he can keep, and maybe if he could beat some good teams down the road, he already beat the Niners. He beat a good defense in the football team. Watch out.
Yeah, agreed.
Let's go to, this was a banger as well, Chiefs-Chargers. Chiefs took this one 23-20. It was close. A boneheaded LA decision at the end of that game not to go for it on 4th and 1.
I don't know what you had nothing to lose.
You had Pat Mahomes on the other side.
You're not going to stop that offense. They're going to score regardless. You're not going to stop them. The only chance you have at winning is by keeping the ball in your hands.
All you need was a yard. You don't trust your offense to get a yard.
And that's probably why Keenan Allen was pissed.
I would be.
I would be too. Because it's not like Herbert wasn't moving the ball all day.
You had a chance to not give the ball to Patrick Mahomes and get a yard.
And you chose.
Or you could willingly give him the ball at the 15 or 20 yard line. Man drove 50 yards down the field, almost. And I mean, there was a crazy amount of kicks that this guy got to do. And he ended up hitting a 58-yarder. Again, that was his career high. He hit earlier in the game and then hit another one.
Bro, he was on the Pat McAfee show. Shout out Pat McAfee. And that dude said that he was good from 70 that day.
And that last kick looked like it was good from 70.
What?
And that's not an easy place to kick.
Well, it was a dome.
Correct,
so.
but it's not like it's mile high.
Right, but
where
thin
the air is
right.
thin and it's the ball's traveling a billion miles. Great, that it's a beautiful stadium. It's $5 billion.
You don't have to worry about the win there at least.
Right, exactly. But it's not like you got any extra air out of it. The dude's just kicking balls like a monster.
Absolute king.
Bombs.
My big takeaway was this: watch out for Jordan Herbert. Justin. Watch out for Justin Herbert. I was very impressed.
Very
For
impressive.
him to come in against the defending Super Bowl champions, knowing he was going to start 5 minutes before kickoff, and going in there and performing like that, watch out.
If you're a Chargers fan,
You have a lot to be excited
you
for.
have a lot to be excited about. I know taking an L stinks. You could have been 2-0 if your coach would have just said, get a yard. And I think they would have. And then, granted, you don't know what happened later down the drive.
Right.
But to give your team a chance, kind of boneheaded, in my eyes. It stinks, but you're a good 1-1. You have a great future in your quarterback.
Yeah.
Obviously, that kid looked great. Kid's gonna get some Madden ratings boosts.
Oh, yeah.
Up the wazoo.
Oh, yeah.
They just gotta try and put up more points, and they held the Chiefs to 23, which is not an easy
Great.
feat.
And they, you could tell that Chargers defense is a little bit tired there. Especially my man, Joey Bosa.
You were yelling at the screen, get Joey Bosa on the field! This dude was off the field for most of that OT drive.
He sat for 7 plays during that overtime drive. Like,
Yeah.
man, that's why they paid you. You got to be on the field.
And I don't know if that's because of the packages they were using, which
think
could
he was
also
just
be a coaching
tired.
thing, or if he was just tired.
You saw that play. The first play he came back in, he got a nasty. Because the reason why I was so mad is because every time he was there, he was inches from the quarterback.
Mhm.
That right tackle could not stop him.
Mm-hmm.
Had no business even trying to block the dude.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's just you could just tell by that one play he came back in before the field goal. He got around. He worked around the right tackle. Then he got chipped by the running back. He got knocked on the ground and he just sat there.
Yep.
And then Patrick Mahomes scrambled around. He could have easily hit him from behind,
Yeah.
strip sack.
For sure.
But he was so tired. He just kneeled there. He
laid
just
on the ground.
couldn't get up.
Yeah.
He just could not. He had nothing left. So.
That man better be running sprints this week
Hey.
because he needs it.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, though, all in all, minus the fact that he got tired, he had a damn good game.
Chargers look like a playoff team.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
So now you have a not surprising 2-0 Ravens to when you look at the schedule, not a very surprising 0-2 Texans.
Yeah.
They had the Chiefs.
Tough team.
They had the Chiefs last week. They had the Ravens this week. 33-16. Ravens.
So I'll keep this one short because I don't really think we need to talk too much about this one. This is
No.
pretty simple.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson did what he did.
Sure.
I like Ingram.
Yep.
Ingram had a game himself. That Baltimore defense did enough. Didn't
Sure.
really impress me too much, but it did enough. It was pretty consistent getting pressure up
Yeah,
the middle
absolutely.
there.
Yep.
And then for the for the Texans, Deshaun Watson, I'm praying for you, brother. That dude was running for
He needs
his
help.
life.
He needs
He
help.
has nothing. He has nothing. And I like J.J. Watt the way he's playing right now.
Yeah,
He's
JJ
having a bit of a resurgence.
Yeah,
He
for
looks like old. He looks like J.J. Watt of old,
for sure.
and I like that. They're
Yeah.
gonna need all of that.
Yeah, and I'll talk more about the Texans later when we do our superlative. But 0-2, not surprising. But they've come back before.
They have.
2015, they came back from 0-2, made the playoffs. 2018, they came back from 0-2, made
And
the playoffs.
it's so early still.
It is so early.
It's
And they
ridiculous.
added that extra playoff team.
Right.
So even if they don't win their division, which not out of reach, you got you really don't have anyone that's much of a threat other than the Titans, who are doing pretty well right now, but it's stable. Not a worrisome 0-2, oddly enough.
Not at all. Not at all.
You had your Sunday night game.
Oh.
Patriots, Seahawks. This was a shootout.
Wow. I'll keep this one short and sweet because I could go all day with this.
Mm-hmm.
Russell Wilson. Oh my goodness. Dropping those things down the chimney.
He's good.
5 passing touchdowns.
He throws the ball deep
with such ease. It
wouldn't be even better if he would have just had a stretchy arm and handed it.
Seriously, it's ridiculous. Just in the bucket. That one touchdown, the Metcalf, Stephon Gilmore was right there. It was perfect coverage.
Stephon Gilmore is not chump change either.
No, that's a defensive play of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And bro, it was just a better throw.
Yeah.
And then I'll tell you what, being a Patriots fan, diehard Patriots fan, I'm actually, even though we lost, I'm very happy with how everything turned out. The defense. Listen, holding the Seahawks 35 with those big plays that they were getting, outside of those 5 big because those touchdown passes were all big plays. Outside of those 5 big plays, they were really doing a damn good job.
And this is a game that's very exemplary of the statement, football's a game of inches.
Mm-hmm.
They lost by a yard, or a yard or 2 on the last play of the game. So you're really only 2 or 3 yards from swapping, making the Patriots 2-0 and the Seahawks 1-1. And then we're talking about how great Cam Newton was, but because the Seahawks were able to pull it out at the end there, and that defense was able to just hit them on that goal line. We're talking about Russell Wilson, who's got 9 touchdown passes in 2 games.
Ridiculous. He got 10 incompletions in 9 touchdown passes in 2 games. But don't get me wrong, I'm very high on Cam Newton.
Yes.
He's a sleeper MVP candidate this year.
Sure.
Watch out for him.
Absolutely.
Because those balls that he was throwing to Julian Edelman down the seam, burning Jamal Adams multiple times. He made Jamal Adams his bitch that game.
I'm surprised they put Jamal Adams in coverage as much as they did. I was expecting them to kind of, especially against this offense, shift him more to a linebacker.
I was thinking the same thing.
Make him clog up that defense, that middle with Bobby Wagner. Make them do it together. But they did put him in coverage a little bit, and he struggled.
He was getting roasted.
Yeah.
And what's funny, too, is he was talking smack about Julian Edelman. He doesn't go deep. Julian Edelman beat him like 3 times.
And that's exactly why they did it.
Yep. And
you can't show your hand to Bill Belichick.
No, definitely not. But all in all, I'm very high on the Patriots, actually. Yeah. Very high on the Patriots.
A good 1-1.
Absolutely.
And the Seahawks looking like one of the best teams.
1 yard away from winning the game. With the right play call, it's just the Seahawks just had one good stop. Yep. I'll take that all day.
Yep.
I didn't think it was going to be that close. So.
No, me either. And the Seahawks looking like one of the best teams in the NFC.
Agreed.
Top 2 at
Yep.
least. And then you had the Monday night game. This was a surprise.
Needed this though.
The Raiders 2-0, 34-24 against the Saints, who are now 1-1.
I'll tell you what. I didn't see this much of the game. I tried to watch it last night, and I knocked out.
Yeah.
I made it till about the 3rd quarter, and that was it for me. But was it Josh Jacobs, the running back from 8?
Yep.
8. He had a big day.
Mm-hmm.
He had a big day. Derek Carr.
He had a really good game.
Playing his ass off.
Really good game.
And then
beating a team like the Saints, who Tom Brady struggled against with all of his weapons in that offense.
Yeah.
Derek Carr, it's showing how he has the same head coach and the same offense and a lot of the same offensive players from last year. Their consistency from a COVID offseason, being able to keep up.
Yep.
With themselves, really. Not making boneheaded mistakes or anything like that. They didn't make any mistakes really against Carolina either the week before. That offense is looking good.
Yeah.
Watch out for the Raiders.
I'll tell you what, was impressed. Alvin Kamara, he was a monster.
Mm-hmm.
He was cutting that defense up all day. And then Drew Brees didn't do that much, honestly.
No.
Drew Brees didn't impress me much.
No.
I would really say Alvin Kamara was the reason why it was even close.
Towards the end of the half, this is part of the game that I did watch. Towards the end of the half, Drew Brees was driving down the field, and for some reason, the clock was running down, and he was making a bunch of audibles. He had 1 timeout left. There was like 40 seconds left. He wasn't even halfway up the field yet, And he's calling audibles. He's like pointing around, doing this, that, and the other thing. I was like, Drew, you're gonna look real stupid if you make a decision that's dumb right here and you don't make a play. He threw a pick right in the middle of the field. And then the Raiders were able to get a field goal and tie the game going into the half.
Yep.
And after that, the momentum just completely went to the Raiders.
That's a great point because the wind went right out of the sails for the Saints after that. Because that's a perfect example. Do too much, man, you're gonna get burned.
Yep.
You gotta keep it simple, man.
Yeah.
Gotta keep it simple.
So let's hit our superlatives for the week. Let's wrap up week 2.
Yep.
2-0 team most likely to miss the playoffs.
Chicago Bears. They're not even a playoff team in my mind. Chicago Bears, 100%.
I tend to agree with you. I think the Bears are not a good football team. No. They are not good 2-0. But if I had to pick somebody else, I would probably say the Titans. I think it's a very good shot that the Texans come back and win that division, and then they get snubbed out of wild card spot because there are a lot of other good teams in that AFC.
Yep.
But if you hadn't picked the Bears, I would have picked the Bears. My second choice would be the Titans. 0-2 team most likely to make the playoffs.
If they can figure out how to close games, the Falcons.
Yeah.
If they just need to figure out how to close a football game. If they can figure out how to close a football game, they would be a scary team. So I'm going to go with the Falcons.
I'm going to keep it in the AFC South. I'm going to say the Texans. I mentioned them. They are a good football team. They versed 2 of the best football teams in their conference. Probably 1 and 2.
Yeah, absolutely. No question.
And they lost close. I mean, Thursday Night Football, that was a little bit of a handed win by the Chiefs. But that second one against the Ravens, I believe, was a little closer.
It was.
No, it wasn't. It was 30-33. It was 33-16. Okay, so maybe they're not that close.
No, the thing with that, though, is that's exactly what should have happened.
Right.
That's what should have
happened. The Ravens are
happened.
good football. They're really good football. I think they'll make the playoffs. I think they might even win that division. It all depends on how they play the Titans.
Right. That's it.
Most impactful injury. We mentioned a few injuries here and there. What injury really made a team from maybe a good team to a really bad team?
Gotta be Saquon for me.
Yeah.
Saquon Barkley, just because he was the team.
Yeah.
Now that he's gone, there is no team. So
Right.
for me, it's Saquon. Yeah.
I think anytime you lose a quarterback, you got some problems. And I think Jimmy G is going to be a big loss for the 49ers. Granted, they did lose Nick Bosa.
Mm-hmm.
That's a center to that defense. However, defensive players are a little more easily replaceable
Than a quarterback. And my second pick was going to be Drew Lock, actually.
Yeah, that's the second guy I was thinking. That the Broncos, Drew Lock, if he were able to finish that game against the Steelers, I think they might have even won that game.
I agree.
Jeff Driscoll did have a good day. But I think Jimmy G turns the Niners into a fringe playoff team now that he's gone to probably...
Might be in trouble.
I think they're definitely in a lot of trouble. Team most likely to get Trevor Lawrence, a.k.a. the first overall pick after 2 weeks.
I'm still going to go with the Jets. I'm going with the Jets. I know Mike will be happy to hear that, but yeah, the Jets are just so awful.
They are
so
bad.
It's just like watching the second string team out there and it's just starters. It's just so bad.
For sure.
So bad.
I think the loser of the game against the Jets and Giants, whoever loses that game will get Trevor Lawrence.
Agreed.
If the Giants choose to take Trevor Lawrence. I'm not sure if they will. You had a good point about Josh Rosen and
Kyler Murray.
Yeah. Granted, if you have a chance to take Trevor Lawrence, one of the best QB prospects ever, you probably should.
Yeah.
Especially if you are at the top of the draft board. That probably means you need a quarterback.
With that kind of arm talent he has too, my goodness, that dude can sling it.
Yeah, so I think whoever loses that game between the Jets and Giants at some point this year, I don't know if that's this week or next week.
I think it's next week.
Okay.
Week
4.
Next week, yep.
And we'll get there anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Who's your MVP of the week?
I'm going Russ.
Okay.
Gotta go Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
That dude. I wanted to pick Cam Newton.
Sure.
Russell Wilson, he just...
Gotta give it to the
you
guy.
can't. How can you not? That dude
5 touchdowns.
Feasted, yeah. So me, Russell.
Just to change it up, I was going to say Russell as well, but I will go Derek Carr. I texted you yesterday and said, I got my MVP, it's Russell Wilson, and then Derek Carr came up and said, hold on a second.
Hello.
Beat a very good Saints defense, and did it in style. He had a game, and they put up a lot of points, and, I mean, the Raiders.
Hey, watch out.
Might be for real.
Watch out.
Part of me was thinking when I was like 2-0 teams that might miss the playoffs.
I was thinking the Raiders too.
I don't know now though, because when you beat a team like the Saints, the more you think about it, you're like, well, if they can do that, they can beat anybody.
Yep.
In the NFC, pretty much, because everyone was saying the Saints are the best team in the NFC, and then all of a sudden they got smoked by the Raiders.
Agreed.
So
it's we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see. The other. Alrighty, guys, and that was the. Oh my goodness. Alrighty, y'all. That was the end of the week 2 recap from my man Andrew, where we kind of went over some of the things that we thought stuck out to us. And I think this week is going to kind of go down in infamy as the injury week in NFL football.
Let's hope that doesn't repeat.
Yeah, because they're dropping quick, and there are a lot of big names too. It's not like nobody in the NFL is a slouch, but the big names that were falling this past week, yikes, it's scary.
Yeah.
It's scary. So, all right, guys, we will see you on Thursday, and then we will see you guys on the following Tuesday to go over our week 3 picks and we'll recap, I should say. We'll see you guys next time. Later.